Hey guys, before we start this video, I would just like to say that the deck I'm talking about, Sauron the Dark Lord, is available in the description via Architect, and it would be very kind of you guys to subscribe and like the video if you guys like this video. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. By the way, I've got time codes in the description, and as well as on the timeline where you guys can skip to the parts that you want. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into this. Hey guys, welcome back to a brand new series that I have decided to create, and I think you guys will like this series, and I had fun building the deck. And yeah, so let's just get straight into what this series is about. In this series, about a week after a set is released, I will go onto EDHREC, and whatever the most popular commander is, I will take that commander and build a budget of $100. So basically a pre-con, but try to make it powerful. And then I will take that deck, which I have built, and then I will talk to you guys about it and then discuss it in the following categories that I'm going to talk about. So the categories that I will talk about is I will first talk about the price. I will go through the budget, which in today's episode the budget was $100, and then I will also go over the specific stats for each deck, as well as why you should consider building this deck or why you should not. And then at the very end, I will have some special cards that I think you guys should add, which would have made the deck go over $100, but I think they would have been quite good to have, if that makes sense. So yeah, that's the basic rundown of how each episode will go. I will talk about all the stats, I will go over all the prices, I will have a few cards to talk about in each category, and yeah, let's get straight into this. So first up, I will talk about the price. But before price, I'll talk about price. So in this deck, we have 68 cards that are between 0 and 50 cents. And then I have 11 cards that are between the 50 cent and the dollar range, and then 3 cards that are between the $5 and $10, and then nothing above that. So yeah, let's just get straight into it. I'm not going to go through anything that's below $1, but I will read the cards that are above $5, and I will read the card names of the ones that are above 1. So our above $1 cards include Arcane Signet, Blasphemous Act, Brainstorm. And then Blasphemous Act is going for $4.49. Arcane Signet is $1.29, and then Brainstorm is $2.29. And then we also have Call of the Ring, I love that card, for $2.29. Go for the Throat for $1.79. Goblin Bombardment for $2.79 as well. Actually, not as well. Lord of the Nazgul for $3.49. Merklord Bats for $1.29. Ringwraiths for $1.49. Saruman the White Hand for $1.79. Soul Ring for $2.99. Talisman of Creativity for $1.99. Talisman of Dominance for $1.29. The Balrog of Moria for $1.99. Troll of Khazad Dûm for $2.29. Warg Rider for $4.49. Witch King Sky Scourge for $1.99. And Wonder for $1.49. So all those cards are between the $1 and $5 range. We have 3 cards in the $5 to $10 range. They are Mount Doom, $5.99, Spiteful Banditry, $6.99, and then our commander, Sauron the Dark Lord, for $7.99. I will read you all 3 of these cards now. Mount Doom reads, tap, pay 1 life, add black or red. 1 black red, tap, Mount Doom deals 1 damage to each opponent. 5 black red, sacrifice Mount Doom and a legendary artifact. Choose up to 2 creatures, then destroy the rest. Activate only as a sorcery. I want to state, we do not have any legendary artifacts in this deck as of my knowledge. Spiteful Banditry reads X red red. For an enchantment, when it enters the battlefield, it deals X damage to each creature. Whenever 1 or more creatures your opponent's control die, you create a treasure token. This ability triggers only once each turn. And then we also have our maybe board, which are above $10 as a matter of fact. And then our average mana value, just so I can get out of the way, is 337. So essentially, just below 3.5 mana for each card. So yeah, those are our prices, which add up to a grand total of, as of recording, $100.13. The date that I printed these cards off, which is the prices that I'm getting these from, was September 3rd, 2024. And all of these cards are based off of Card Kingdom, nothing else. So yeah. So now I feel like we should go through all of our, I guess, subtypes, I guess you could call them. Well, not just types, alright? So we have 6 artifacts, 28 creatures, 6 enchantments, 12 instants, 37 lands, 10 sorceries, and 9 maybe boards, which are basically our cards that we added in, but I basically decided they would be too expensive for the deck. And our deck specific stats include, our non-deck specific stats include 12 draw cards, 37 lands, 8 ramp, 11 removal, and 3 board wipes. And our non-deck specific stats include, our deck specific stats include 4 cards that deal with counters in some way, shape, or form. 1 card that has evasion. Many cards have evasion. And then we have 5 sack outlets, 16 tokens, and then 1 tutor. So yeah. I'm quite excited, so let's just get into this. Starting off, I feel like we should read the main commando himself, which is Sauron the Dark Lord. 3 blue, black, red, legendary creature, Avatar Horror, 7/6. Ward, sacrifice a legendary artifact or legendary creature. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, amass orbs 1. Whenever an army you control deals combat damage to a player during temp shoot, whenever during temp shoot, you may discard your hand. If you do, draw 4 cards. Sauron the Dark Lord, this is I'm going to state the way I was trying to go about it. If it wasn't obvious, I was trying to go for the tokens route. The tokens and the counters, I guess you could call them both. So yeah, we obviously have the tokens that are being created by basically every opponent when they cast a spell. And then we also have the ability on Sauron, which is why I only have 12 draw actually. I should have probably lowered that just because of the fact that Sauron himself basically has some type of draw on it that you can basically do every turn, because it reads whenever during temp shoot you may discard your hand if you do draw 4 cards. The line above that reads whenever an army you control deals combat damage to a player during temp shoot. So it might not happen often, but more than likely it will happen. Especially in the early game, when people are just casting spells like Rampant Growth and Cultivate and whatever, Arcane Signet, Soul Ring, all that stuff. Your army is just gonna get big that people aren't gonna want to lose their like Land of War Elves or whatever they have, or just not have the ability to block. So you can dump all your hand into like Sauron and everything else that you have, just so you can just get those cards back. I should have gone with a sub-theme of maybe Recursion, but I don't have. I do have a Recursion. I have one card that deals with Recursion, which is not great, but it works. So yeah, that's Sauron. I'm going to go on to the deck itself. For counters, we have 4 cards that deal with counters. All 4 of them have a total of 298 for how much they are worth. We have Mara. I'm sorry if I pronounce any of these names wrong. I am reading Lord of the Rings, but I'm still terrible at pronouncing names. Mahir, Uruk, High Captain. Also, all these cards will come up on screen as I say their names. He is a legendary creature, Orc Soldier, and he is a 35-cent card. And then we have Mirkwood Bats, which is a bat, and he is a $1.29. We also have Orcish Siege Master, which is another Orc Soldier, which is going for 99 cents. And then we have Uglak of the White Hands, who is another Orc Soldier, going for 35 cents. So yeah, I have 2 cards that I want to talk about in this list. Actually 4, 3, 4, it's 4, sorry. Yeah, I want to talk about all 4 of these cards just because they're really good. We have Mahir, Uruk, High Captain, which is a legendary creature, Orc Soldier for a black and a red. It's a 2/2, it's got Menace. If one or more +1/+1 counters will be put on army, goblin, or orc you control, that many +1/+1/+1 counters are put on it instead. So essentially, if Sauron, every time someone casts a spell, if you have Mahir, Mahura, whatever, and Sauron out, every time someone casts a spell, you get 2 +1/+1 counters on that army. But if a source you had said put amass orcs 3, instead you would only get 1 more +1/+1 counter. It's not doubling, it's just adding 1 onto it, which is very powerful, especially with some of the other cards I will talk about. Next up, Mirkwood Bats, 3 and a black for a 2/3 creature bat. Flying, whenever you create or sacrifice a token, each opponent loses 1 life. Very easy, simple, especially if you go with that sack outlet type of way. There are 2 plans on how to kill your opponents. First up, bash them to death with your army. Second plan is just generate value with your army and then sacrifice it to all your sack outlets, which is more of like the secondary option, not the preferred option, but a secondary option since there are only 5 ways. So yeah, I don't have any finishers in this deck, sadly, which is probably something I probably should have added, but I did not. Orcish Siege Master, 2 and a red for a 0/5 creature Orc Soldier. Trample. Other orcs and goblins you control have trample. This card alone will give your orc army trample. That's good enough that I wanted to talk about it. And whenever Orcish Siege Master attacks, it gets +X+0, where X is the greatest power among creatures you control. If you have a, I don't know, let's just say everyone casts 3 spells. 3 spells for their turn, right? 3 spells, 3 spells, 3 spells, okay? That's a 9/9 orc army you have, alright? Now, Orcish Siege Master becomes a 9/5 with trample. And you have a 9/9 with trample. Good, really good. Uglak, the White Hand, 2 red and black for a 3/3 legendary creature Orc Soldier. Whenever another creature you control dies, put a +1/+1 counter on Uglak, the White Hand. If that creature was a goblin or orc, put 2 +1/+1 counters on Uglak instead. I'm pretty sure you can see why that was good. I'm pretty sure you can see why that card's great, as a matter of fact. Uglak, the White Hand, just... this guy can get enormous really fast. Especially with Mahir, Uruk, High Captain. he's just going to be giving counters to this orc army. That army is eventually going to die. Uglok gets 3+1/+1 counters when that army dies if you have Mahir out. 1, just because it died. 2, because it's an orc. And then the third one's because of Mahir. So yeah, pretty good. Alright, that's our first category down. Next up is draw. I do have 2 cards that I do want to talk about here. And yeah. So our draw category has a grand total of 12 cards with a price of $12.58. Not terrible. We have cards Birthday Escape, Brainstorm, Call of the Ring, Factor Fiction, Frantic Search, Hithlin Knots, Mordor Muster, Moria Marauder, Moria Scavenger, Nastian, Sauron's Ransom, Witch King Sky Scourge. Those are our 12 cards, and I plan to talk about them. Call of the Ring is the first one, just because it's super amazing. It's my probably favorite card in this set, just because this artwork alone is amazing. It has it on the playmat, which is on my Christmas list as a matter of fact, so hopefully I get it. At the beginning of your upkeep, the ring tempts you. Amazing. Whenever you choose a creature as your ring bearer, you may pay 2 life. If you do, draw a card. That alone, ring tempts you, draws you a card. Amazing. And I love it. And then again, it's flavor text, the ring is mine. Amazing. And also, the other card I wanted to talk about is Nasty End, which is 1 and a black for instant. As an additional cost to cast a spell, sacrifice a creature. Draw 2 cards. If the sacrificed creature was legendary, draw 3 cards. You have a few legendary creatures, and you can just play this card when you're, for example, Witch King Sky Scourge is being blocked. You can just play that card so that before combat damage happens, this dude dies to this Nasty End. By the way, if you hear other noise, it's probably the rain outside. And then you draw 3 cards, which is awesome, in my opinion. And then honorable mention is Birthday Escape and Brainstorm. Birthday Escape, it's a blue, and it's a sorcery. The ring tempts you, and you draw a card. Easy. 2 things that this deck wants to do: draws cards. I wouldn't say it wants to draw cards, but it draws you a card, and the ring tempts you. That's a good thing that this deck wants to do. And then Brainstorm, another 1 cost. Draw 3 cards and put 2 cards on top of your library in any order. Sets you up for your next draw step. That's awesome. By the way, Birthday Escape is 35 cents. Brainstorm is $2.99. Call of the Ring is $2.99. Factor Fiction is 35 cents. Frantic Search, 49 cents. Hithlin Knots, 35 cents. Mordor Muster, 35 cents. Moria Marauder, 69 cents. Moria Scavenger, 69 cents. Nastian, 35 cents. Sauron's Ransom, 99 cents. Witch King Sky Scourge, $1.99. So yeah. Also, Fact and Fiction, last thing I want to talk about in this category. Fact and Fiction and Sauron's Ransom are 2 very, very, very similar cards. Let me read them, okay? Fact or Fiction, 3 in a blue for an instant. Reveal the top 5 cards of your library. An opponent separates those cards into 2 piles. Put one pile into your hand and the other pile into your graveyard. Sauron's Ransom. 1 in a blue and a black. Instant. Choose an opponent. They look at the top 4 cards of your library and separate them into a face-down pile and a face-up pile. Put 1 pile into your hand and the other into your graveyard. The ring tempts you. 2 very similar cards. Fact or Fiction has obviously been around for forever, and Sauron's Ransom has just come out in a year ago, and it's basically the same. It's a factor fiction, but they're in Kempshu, so that's good in my opinion. It's amazing. So yeah, that's all I want to talk about in this category. Next up is our Evasion with one card. It's $1.49. It's Wonder, 3 in a blue. It's a 2/2 creature incarnation. As long as Wonder is in your graveyard and you control an island, creatures you control have flying. I threw this in here because this is a finisher. You could throw this in the finisher category just because that's in your graveyard and you have a 10-10, 11-11, 12-12, get the point, army. That army's dead. I mean, that person's dead. And you somehow give them trample, like, good things. And this thing can be discarded, and then, well, bam. And it's $1.49. That is a steal. Next up are lands. I'm not going to go through and read any of these because none of them are special except for Mount Doom. But yeah. So there's 37 of these with a price of $22.05, our most expensive so far. We have a Choked Estuary for 59 cents, Command Tower for 49 cents, Evolving Winds for 35 cents, Foreboding Ruins for 49 cents, 10 Islands for 35 cents, Mount Doom for $5.99, 10 Mountains for 49 cents, Sunken Hollow for 49 cents, 10 Swamps for 49 cents, and Temple of the False God for 35 cents. So yeah, they're cool. They're cool cards. They work. They're lands. They get what you need. All of them work. Cool. Next up, we have our mill category, which this card can absolutely be a token as well. Token generator, and probably should have been. Because it is the Mouth of Sauron, 3 blue black for a 3/4 legendary creature, human advisor. Whenever the Mouth of Sauron enters the battlefield, target player mills 3 cards with a mass Orcs X, where X is the number of instant and sorcery cards in that player's graveyard. And it's a 3/4. So this card could absolutely have been a token card and probably should have been a token card. Look. Ramp time, ramp. We have 8 cards that are rampy, and they have a total of $11.54. First up, Arcane Signet, $1.29. Commander Sphere, 35 cents. Mind Stone, 99 cents. Soul Ring, $2.99. Swarming of Moria, 35 cents. Talisman of Captivity, $1.99. Talisman of Dominance, $1.29. Troll of Khazad Dûm, which is $2.29. All of these cards, except for the talismans, are all Lord of the Rings themed. Like even the sword is probably my favorite, just because of how cool it looks. But yeah, I want to talk about Troll of Khazad Dûm. This card is 5 in the black for a creature troll. 6/5, whenever Troll of Khazad Dûm can't be blocked except by 3 or more creatures. And then this is why it's ramp. Swamp cycling 1, discard search your library for a swamp card, reveal it, put into your hand and shuffle. I mean, it's a card. It's not terrible. I don't know. Maybe add a little more ramp if you guys are building this deck, because the ramp can be adjusted a little bit. And then Recursion is up next. We have 1 card for Recursion, just because there are not that many cards that you will need to get back. Like, there are cards that you can live without, but there are some cards that you're just like, I need that card, and this is my finisher, so let me put this card. Sam's Desperate Rescue, a black mana for sorcery. Return target creature from your graveyard to your hand during Kempshu. It's 35 cents. It's awesome. Next up, we have our removal category, which is 11 cards for $8.45. So let's read them. We've got Claim the Precious for 35 cents. We've got Foray of Orcs for 35 cents. Glorious Gale for 35 cents. Go for the Throat for $1.79. Isildur's Fateful Strike for 49 cents. Morgul Knife Wound for 35 cents. Ring Wraiths for $1.49. Saruman's Trickery for 35 cents. Smite the Deathless for 35 cents. The Balrog of Moria for $1.99. And then the Balrog during Bane. I want to state that the two Balrogs are very similar. They both cost 7 mana. The one's an 8/8, the one's a 7/5. And I know which one I think is better. I just want to know which one you guys think is better. Put it down in the comments below. We have the Balrog of Moria for 4 black, red. It's an 8/8 legendary creature, Avatar Demon, with Trample and Haste. And then whenever the Balrog of Moria dies, you may exile it. If you do, for each opponent, exile up to 1 target creature that player controls. And it has cycling 3 in a red, discard, draw a card. Whenever you cycle the Balrog of Moria, create 2 treasure tokens. And the Balrog Durin's Bane is 5 black, red for a 7/5/11 legendary creature, Avatar Demon. The spell costs 1 less to cast for each permanent sacrifice this turn. Haste, the Balrog Durin's Bane can't be blocked except by legendary creatures. Whenever the Balrog Durin's Bane dies, destroy target artifact or creature an opponent controls. I will tell you which one I think is better at the end of this video. Our stack outlets are next. We have 5 of them, and they come out to a total of $5.17. We have Goblin Bombardment for $2.79, Goblin Patient Plotter for 35 cents. We have Grima Wormtongue for 35 cents, Versa Seer for 99 cents, and Woe Strider for 69 cents. So yeah, I want to talk about Goblin Bombardment. That's the one I want to talk about just because it's really powerful. Goblin Bombardment, 1 in a red. Enchantment, sacrifice a creature, Goblin Bombardment deals 1 damage to any target. That's just good. Goblin Patient Plotter can't really fit into this stack outlet category just because it's sacrifice a creature, turn it Goblin Patient Plotter to your hand. Okay. And then Bursa Seer and Woe Strider both read sacrifice another creature. Bursa Seer reads sacrifice a creature, scry 1. Woe Strider reads sacrifice another creature, scry 1. So those 3, Goblin Bombardment, Versa Seer, and Woe Strider, are the 3 big ones. I couldn't find many good ones, so yeah. Next up we have tokens, which I believe is our 3rd to final category already. And yeah, let's start reading these guys through. First up, there's 15 of them. They cost a total of $14.75. And first up, we have Book of Mazabul for 35 cents. We have Corsairs of Umbar for 49 cents. Deceive the Messenger for 35 cents. Duneland Cribbin, 35 cents. Easterling Vanguard for 35 cents. Gothmog Morgal Lieutenant for 35 cents. Grina Brash Investigator for 35 cents. Lord of the Nazgul for $3.49. March from the Black Gate for 35 cents. Mordor Turi Butchnet for 35 cents. Saruman the White for 35 cents. Saruman the White Hand for $1.79. Sauron Lord of the Rings for 99 cents. Surrounded by Orcs for 35 cents. Wargrider for $4.49. And that's it. Yeah. 1, 2, 3. Yep, that adds up. Okay, cool. So let's talk about that. First up, I feel like we need to talk about the fact that these names are very confusing and hard to read. Like, don't blame me. These cards hard to read. First up, I want to talk about Grishnaka Brash Investigator. I don't know what's it called. Correct me in the comments. Yell at me, whatever. 200 red legendary creature, Goblin Soldier. 1/1. Whenever, I'm just gonna say this card. Whenever this card enters the battlefield, amass Orcs 2. When you do, it's on the turn. Gain control of target non-legendary creature an opponent controls with power less than or equal to the amassed army's power. Untap that creature. It gains haste until end of turn. So good because you can basically, if I created this deck right, I think I did. The army's power should be, if you keep it alive, the army, and don't sacrifice it, it should be like up around 10. Like once it gets up around 10, it basically reads go grab anything you want. That could be a Vorinclex Monsters Raider. That could be a Dockside Extortionist, which would leave their battlefield and enter your battlefield. You get treasures. That could be anything. Anything. That could be a card that has an enchantment on it, and I believe that's how you get rid of them. I don't know that though. Don't quote me on that. There are so many things you could steal. This card basically reads, grab the most powerful thing on the board and take it for a turn. So yeah, very good. And for 35 cents, that's a definite throw in this deck. Next, we have got March Up from the Black Gate, which is an enchantment, 1 in the black. One march from the Black Gate enters the battlefield, and whenever an army you control attacks, amass Orcs 1. Whenever it enters the battlefield, amass Orcs 1. Whenever it attacks, amass Orcs 1. With some of these cards, you can be amass Orcs in 3 just by attacking. We also have Mordor Tree Bachet, which is 2 in the black for an artifact creature wall. 1/4, it's a defender. Whenever you attack with 1 or more goblins and or orcs, create a 2/1 colorless construct artifact creature token with flying named Basilak Broder that's tapped and attacking. Sacrifice that token at the end of combat. That's just creating tokens, and at some points you can just be attacking with like 5 or 6 orcs. Even if you attack with 1, you create a 2/1 colorless construct artifact. And with flying, that can like block the angel deck. That can block the dragon deck. This card can save you from a lot of scenarios since there aren't a lot of flying cards. There's Wonder, and that's like it. Next up, we've got Sauron the White Hand, which reads 1 blue, black, red. Legendary creature, Avatar Wizard. 2/5 for whenever you cast a non-creature spell, amass Orcs X. Where X is that spell's mana value. Non-creature spells, we have a total of 6, 12, 24, 34. We have a total of 34 non-creature spells in this deck, not counting lands, obviously. That's 34 chances. And you amass Orcs X, where X is that spell's mana value. This card can just be like value. Next up, Sauron, Lord of the Rings. 5 blue, black, red. Legendary creature, Avatar Horror. 9/9. Whenever you cast a spell, amass Orcs 5, mill 5 cards, then return a creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Trample, whenever a commander and opponent controls dies. Whenever a commander and opponent control dies, they're in temptation. Value. Amass Orcs 5. Mill 5 cards. Return a creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Grab the best thing. Grab Saruman the White Hand. Grab your Balrog that you sacrificed for some reason. Grab anything and everything. Powerful cards, I must say. And whenever commander and opponent control dies, they're in Temshu. That's just powerful. Because you just grab card. You just grab ring Temshu. If people are just fighting with each other and you sit back and building up an orc army and that's just having the ring tempt you, that's amazing. For 99 cents, that's spectacular. We also have Surrounded by Orcs, which is like a must talk. 3 in a blue for a sorcery. Amass Orcs 3. Then target player mills X cards, where X is the amassed army's power. Do I have to even explain why that card is good? You play that card, you amass Orcs 3. So they're already milling at least 3 cards. If you haven't been board wiped 6 times and your army hasn't been killed 3 times, then your army should at least be up around 10, 15, whatever. So you're like realistically milling a ton of cards, like 15, 18 cards just gone. I mean, some points that could just be game ending if the person is just drawing cards. Like, that's just good. Next up is Warg Rider. 4 and a black for a creature, 4 and a black for a creature or warrior, 4/3. Menace. Other orcs and goblins you control are menace. At the beginning of combat on your turn, amass orcs too. Every turn, you're at least amassing orcs 2. Realistically, amassing orcs 4 or 5 or 6. Value, friends. Value. Yeah, I don't think I really need to explain. And then menace, value. Next up, we've got 2 more categories and then our maybe board. Alright. Tutor. Ring sight. 1 blue black for a sorcery. The ring tempts you. Search your library for a card that shares a color with a legendary creature you control. Reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle. Oh, look at this. You've got your commander, which is an avatar horror. And then you also have like avatar, you've got a lot of avatars in here. And most of the time you will also probably have a wraith on the battlefield. Good, value. That card's, by the way, 35 cents. So 35 cents for a tutor, not terrible. Wipe, we have 3 of them. They're worth $12.07. We've got Blasphemous Act, which is $4.49. I don't think I need to explain that by well. Spiteful Banditry for $6.99. I already read that. Too Greedy, Too Deep for 59 cents. So yeah, first up, Blasphemous Act. This spell, 8 in a red. This spell costs 1 less to cast for each creature on the battlefield. Blasphemous Act deals 13 damage to each creature. Most of the time, that's 1 red mana. 1 red mana, board wipe, that's perfect. 13 damage to each creature. Sometimes that won't even kill your army. Your army's still standing. Spiteful Banditry for those of you who have skipped other categories. X red enchantment. Enters battlefield. This card enters the battlefield. It deals X damage to each creature. Whenever 1 or more creatures your opponents control die, you create a treasure token. This ability triggers only once each turn. Too Greedy, Too Deep. 5 black red for a sorcery. Put target creature from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. That creature deals damage equal to its power to each other creature. And sometimes, if you put your Balrog of Moria, that's dealing 8 damage to every creature. If you put Balrog Durin's Bane, that's dealing 7 damage to every creature. Like, value, my friends. Value. Next up, that's it, actually. That's the entire deck. That's all 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 categories. So, yeah, now I'm going to probably say the thing you guys have all been waiting for. And there are actually, I only put 9 cards in here. There's actually a 10th one in this maybe board category. So take a guess what they are. I'll just tell you guys what they are. They are the 9 Nazguls. I couldn't put them in because they're all $11.99, which would add up to a staggering $107.91, which is worth more than the deck actually is. So yeah, I did not put those in for obvious reasons. Another card you can put in here, the Ozolek. There we go, the Ozolek. You just got board wiped, and now all of your things are gone. Well, great. Grab all the +1/+1 cannons that you had on your orc army, or your, what's the other one we talked about at the very beginning, guys? Ooglock of the White Hand. That thing died. Well, great. Now you've got all those +1/+1 counters to throw on something else. Like, value, my friend. Value. So yeah, we also have, I already talked to you guys about the average mana cost, which was, I will say again, 3.37, which is basically just under 3.5 mana each. We have about 6 cards in the 1 mana range. We have 0 in the 0 cost. We have around 19, 18-ish in the 2 cost range. We have 15 in the 3 cost range. We have 4 cards in the 10 cost range. We have 5 cards in the 4 cost range. We have 6 cards in the 3 cost range. 7 cards in the 4 cost range. 2 cards in the 8 cost range, and about 2 cards in the 9 cost range. Although that could be 1. I can't tell. But yeah, though that is everything of this deck. Now, as I said, I will tell you which of the Balrogs I think is better. The Balrog that I think is significantly more better is the Balrog. Here, drum roll, please. That's a terrible drum roll. But the Balrog Durr's Bane. Just because it costs 1 less, so it can get out quicker. Although not very much quicker. It's got haste, which the other one does too. It does not have trample, sadly. It can't be blocked by except legendary creatures, so unless they're a legendary matters deck, that will almost always be their commander or something important. And when it dies, destroy target artifact or creature an opponent controls. That is a lot better than the Balrog of Moria, which is an 8/8, which is slightly better. Dying and being exiled, because you can't get that back. So yeah. Yeah, once again, the link is in the description. It's in the description. Go look at it. I hope you guys like this video and subscribe. Yeah, I hope this video doesn't come out too late. It's currently Saturday, September 7th. So yeah. Bye guys. I'll see you guys when I see you.